Welcome back to Cylance TV. I am Matt Stephenson. I'm here with Justine Bone, the CEO of MedSec. Now, you've been here this week. We just got off a great panel at BD. Tell me what's going on with MedSec. You've got some different angles to talk about as opposed to just more hardware, more software, more security.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having me. MedSec traditionally focused on medical device security research. We work with manufacturers to secure emerging product lines such as BD. But really, the pain point is for the customer, for the end user, the hospitals. The hospitals are a hugely lucrative and somewhat vulnerable target these days, and a certain amount of the hospital exposures are related to medical devices. So we're really focused right now on helping hospitals understand their exposure as it relates to medical devices. And that starts with some real security fundamentals like asset identification. What have I got connected to my network right now? What state is it in? Does it need to be addressed? You can't really do anything else when it comes to security management until you understand what your exposure looks like.
Right.
So we're starting with those security fundamentals and we're going from there with our hospital clients.
Now, not to make it sound like a silly question, but we have medical device implants in people now. Are those also assets that need to be managed? And if so, how is that different than traditional medical devices?
Absolutely. Anything from an implant all the way up to an MRI. These are all, at the end of the day, these are just computers that need to be managed. Now, it's difficult. I'll give you that. You know, we've got legacy systems here. You don't replace your MRI like you replace your iPhone, every 6 months. But we can't ignore the fact that these devices need to be managed. When new vulnerabilities are discovered, they need to be updated. These vulnerabilities need to be addressed in some way. And that technique may differ from an implant to an MRI, but we can't just ignore the problem. And that's actually why I'm really excited to be partnering with BD. BD's willingness to tackle this problem head on and engage with their clients and the community around cybersecurity is really a refreshing change. And frankly, they're setting a standard for the industry.
Anything super weird that is really unique to the healthcare, aside from putting them inside of people, that you guys are looking at and trying to come at from a different angle?
Well, we know how to solve a lot of the problems that folks in healthcare cybersecurity are facing. But there are nuances. A lot of the product lines that we're looking at have been built on proprietary technologies, proprietary network communications protocols, for example. So we can't take a solution that might work in a large financial institution and throw it at a hospital.
Yeah, just slap it on an MRI, you're fine.
Exactly, because you know what will happen? The MRI will go offline in a second. These devices can be extremely fragile, so we've got to be very, very careful when we come at things like vulnerability scanning, network scanning. And what's more is because these devices have been built based on proprietary technologies, that means we need proprietary solutions to manage that. So we're excited to be tackling this problem, and I think we're going to make a lot of advances when it comes to securing our infrastructure, securing hospital infrastructure.
Now, it seems like healthcare has really been under attack the last couple of years. Are we reaching the end of that cycle? Have we run out of stuff to steal, or you guys constantly have to make sure that you're out in front of the bad guys? We don't want anybody like, what was the TV show where they killed the vice president by blowing up his pacemaker? What's the next thing that you've got to make sure is locked down? Yeah,
well, there's the dramatic Hollywood-style scenarios like that, but the reality is what the bad guys are going after is PHI. It's a very lucrative target, worth a lot more money than financial data on the black market. And so that's not coming from a pacemaker as much as it is from other types of larger devices inside of hospital environments. So, we've got to lock these things down. We know how to do it. We know how to introduce encryption. We know how to introduce authentication. We know how to release software updates. We know how to verify those updates. It's really just a matter of deploying what we know works in other verticals inside healthcare.
So as we look to the future, are you feeling good about where we're going? Are you thinking that there's some things that we need to be more on the alert for? Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Well, I think we're recognizing that, we can't be relying on things like security by obscurity. Just because we've built something based on a proprietary technology doesn't mean the bad guys are not going to figure out how that works.
Right.
And I think everybody's waking up to that now. Companies such as BD are recognizing the value and transparency around their investment in their security program. Everybody knows that there's no such thing as 100% secure.
Right.
There's always going to be an emerging threat, an emerging attack technique, and we're seeing a partnership emerge between manufacturers and hospitals, for example, where together we can team and tackle these problems, acknowledge when there's a vulnerability, work together to develop a fix or a workaround or some other mitigation strategy and deploy that. And it's an ongoing process, and we're never done. And we're realizing that now.
Well, as long as people get sick, you're never going to be done.
Exactly.
So for folks looking for more information about MedSec, where should they go?
You can medsec.com, that's our website, and myself personally, I'm on LinkedIn. Folks can reach out to me. I'm always looking to build and forge new relationships. We also work with a few government institutions, MITRE, the FDA, DHS.
Right, all the big names.
Yeah, you bet. This is about the industry coming together to tackle this problem, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Awesome. So go find Justine on LinkedIn. If you're looking for all the information on Cylance, you can find us at threat.cylance.com. On Twitter, we are at Cylance Inc. and at Cylance Insider, and I am at PacMat73. All kinds of cool folks coming at you, so stick around.